There's a strange paradox you see in people who have been on their own for a long time. They build a life they're proud of, a fortress of self-reliance, and yet, when someone new knocks on the door, they hesitate. It's the quiet irony of wanting love, but finding it harder and harder to let it in. This isn't about being picky, or broken, or difficult. It's about the subtle, powerful ways that prolonged independence reshapes our emotional landscape. Understanding this is the key to not just finding a relationship, but to making sure it's a healthy one when you do. Because the same skills that helped you thrive alone can become the very walls that keep love out. When you're single for a long time, you don't just learn to be independent, you master it. You become your own financial planner, your own emotional support system, your own handyman, and your own cheerleader. This isn't just a lifestyle, it's a psychological achievement. The psychological mechanism at play here is called self-efficacy. It's the powerful belief in your own ability to handle life's challenges. Every bill you pay, every lonely Sunday you navigate, every personal goal you achieve, it all reinforces this feeling. You've built a life that works, a smooth running machine of one. Think about it in daily life. Your morning routine is sacred. The way you arrange your home is a perfect reflection of your mind. You decide what to watch, what to eat, and when to sleep without negotiation or compromise. This isn't selfishness, it's efficiency. But when someone new enters this carefully curated world, they aren't just a person, they're a variable. A beautiful, exciting, but unpredictable variable. The emotional consequence is that you begin to see interdependence as a threat to your stability. Having to check in with someone, coordinate schedules, or even share a bed can feel like a loss of that hard-won autonomy. A new partner's needs and habits can feel less like a joyful addition and more like an intrusion on a system you've perfected. What once felt like a fortress of strength can slowly start to feel like a cage. You're safe inside, but the drawbridge is getting harder and harder to lower. The very independence that made you strong now makes it difficult to make space for another person's existence. Emotional vulnerability is like a muscle. It requires regular exercise to stay strong. When you haven't been in a relationship for years, that muscle doesn't get much use. The psychological mechanism behind this is emotional guarding. To protect ourselves from past hurts or the potential for future pain, we build emotional walls. This is a natural, adaptive response. After all, being emotionally open when you're navigating the world alone can be risky. So, you learn to process your own feelings. You become your own confidant. You celebrate your wins quietly and lick your wounds in private. You haven't needed to share your deepest fears or secret hopes with a partner, and so you forget how. You see this in small, everyday moments. Someone asks, "How are you?" And you give the polished, public answer, not the messy, true one. On a first date, you talk about your job and your hobbies, but you skillfully steer away from the deeper waters of your heart. It's not deception. It's a deeply ingrained habit of self-protection. The emotional consequence of this is a profound fear of intimacy. The idea of letting someone see your unfiltered self, the anxious parts, the needy parts, the imperfect parts, feels terrifying. You may even start to believe that you're simply too much for someone else to handle. This fear isn't just about being rejected. It's about the sheer unfamiliarity of being truly seen. It can feel easier and safer to stay in the shallow end of connection, even when you're longing for the deep. You crave closeness, but the act of revealing yourself feels like a foreign language you've forgotten how to speak. When you've been the sole manager of your life for a long time, you have a perfect accounting of your own efforts. You know exactly how much work it takes to keep your life running, because you do all of it. The psychological principle here relates to our innate sense of equity and fairness. In a healthy partnership, there's a constant, often unspoken give and take. It's an emotional dance of support, compromise, and shared labor, both seen and unseen. But for the long-term single person, the scales are perfectly balanced because you're on both sides. You put in 100% of the effort, and you receive 100% of the credit. There's no hidden labor, no resentment over who did the dishes, no feeling of being taken for granted. Consider the reality of a shared life. A partner has a stressful week at work, so you pick up the slack at home. They comfort you through a family crisis, charging your emotional battery when it's low. This beautiful, messy exchange is the lifeblood of a relationship. But from the outside, it can look unbalanced. When you're used to a clear, one-to-one ratio of effort to outcome, the compromises of a relationship can feel like an unfair burden. The relational consequence is that you can become hypercritical of a new partner's contributions. You might find yourself keeping a mental tally. I initiated the last 3 dates, or I'm the one who always remembers to buy milk. This isn't because you're a stingy person. It's because you've become unaccustomed to the invisible debts and credits of emotional life. You've forgotten that true fairness in a relationship isn't about perfect 50-50 equality in every moment, but about a deep, underlying trust that you're both ultimately showing up for each other. The journey out of long-term singlehood isn't about finding the right person. It's about gently dismantling the fortifications you built to survive on your own. It's about understanding that the self-reliance that kept you safe can also keep you isolated. It's recognizing that the emotional armor that protected your heart now prevents it from being touched. And it's about relearning that the fairest relationships aren't the ones with a perfect balance sheet, but the ones built on unconditional acceptance. This isn't a flaw to be fixed. It's a sign of your strength, your resilience, and your capacity to build a life from the ground up. But now, the work is different. It's not about building higher walls, but about learning to open the gate. True maturity isn't found in perfect independence, but in the courage to choose interdependence.